can't.
I'm good. I hope you are.
That's fine. No, you take care of it. I'm good. I'm all in.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December the 6th, 2021 meeting of the Surrey County Commissioners. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight and trust everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we thank God that the fire's out on Pilot Mountain. So, and nobody perished in that fire. So that's a wonderful thing. You know, the mountain will be beautiful again this spring when all the undergrowth comes back, but we can replace that, but we can't replace the lives. So I'd like to thank all the firefighters, rescue people, and the gracious outpouring of community support. Commissioner Johnson and I rode down there last Monday and rode all around the bottom of the knob, all the roads, and the whole mountain was on fire. We went back to Pilot Knob Volunteer Fire Department, and we was in the truck. We thought we'd go get them some water, Gatorade and abs or something to help them out. But we got there, there's probably a tractor and trailer load of stuff already there. So the outpouring of support in this community in Surrey County, we live in the best part of the country there is. So glad to have everyone here tonight. I'd like to recognize former Senator Shirley Randleman. She's with us tonight. There you are. Glad to have you here tonight. All right, we're going to get into it here. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Vice Chairman Bill Goins.
Please join me in prayer. Well, guys, we come to you tonight. Father, we come thanking you for the blessings of this day. Father, we're not worthy of any of them, but Father, we're so thankful for all that you give us. Father, we're thankful for your grace and your mercy. Father, we're so thankful again that we live where we do. Father, we're blessed to live in Surrey County. Father, we just pray that you be with us tonight. All of you have attended this meeting. We pray that you be with them, give them safe travels home. Father, we pray for our EMS, our sheriff's deputies, our armed forces, all who serve to protect us and see to our needs. Father, we pray that you be with them. Father, as we go about the people's business today, we pray that you be with us, help us discern what's good and bad for our citizens. Father, in all things, we'll give you the praise, honor, and glory. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Goins. All right, next we have the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Goins to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Harris. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is the approval of the November 15th, 2021 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Tucker. I'll second that. Commissioner Marion, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. We have 10 bullet points, and I'll turn it over to County Manager Chris Knopf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item will be a proclamation by the board acknowledging School Choice Week, which will be January 23rd through the 29th. Second item are some MIS equipment leases for our IT functions here. There was some approved capital purchases, as you'll see. The estimates that came in were a few $1,000s higher. So Martha Brennell's asking for that additional funds, which she will pull from her budget. Third item is a resolution and incentive agreement for Project Wood Grain. It's an economic development project the board held a hearing on previously. Fourth is a waste haulers non-exclusive franchise renewal for a local company that picks up residential waste throughout the county. Next item is a grant project ordinance for the American Rescue Plan funding. This is the first start in sort of allocating these funds into various areas. Of course, this will have to be amended as future guidance becomes available from U.S. Treasury and state of North Carolina. Next item is the tax department end of month summaries, charges and reports. Typically, we do that at the second meeting of the month, but since we don't have one in December, you'll be approving that this evening for the tax administrator. Next item is a request from Four-Way Volunteer Fire Department in the form of a resolution so they can refinance a fire truck. They came to you a few meetings ago about refinancing some other debt. As they were working on that, they were encouraged to also refinance this fire truck. So that's what this resolution is regarding. Rhonda Nixon, Finance Officer, has submitted budget amendment number 4. Next item is a renewal lease for the juvenile justice function, which is at the Resource Center in Mount Airy. And finally, an appointment to the jury commission that's recommended to the board. And that is the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chris. All right, gentlemen, what's your pleasure on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Tucker to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, next we have some special ladies and gentlemen in the house. It's good to see our young citizens stepping up. We have some Eagle Scout Awards. Gentlemen, if you'd go down to the front. Eagle Scouts, come on up. All of you, come on up.
They're,
I know you have.
they're just visiting.
Okay. None of the scouts are here.
Don't look like it. Well, we have one that's in New Mexico. He couldn't make it.
I read.
Mark's son, he's in the Air Force.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
contacted the other one.
Well, we're glad to have you here.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Are they all from one troop or?
Different group. All right, we'll read the names and then we'll let you all talk a little bit about
All right. Sure.
Gary Bender, Troop 517.
He's in New Mexico.
He's here representing this certificate of recognition as an expression for his admiration. Nicholas Bryant. Nicholas Bryant, Troop 596, hereby presented. You can also
All right, Alexander Koppel,
I'll be, no.
2517. Hereby presented the certificate of recognition as an expression of the board's admiration and appreciation of the attainment of Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America 2021. Bringing honor not only to himself, his troop, and his family, but to the youth and also to this day of December 2021, of Surrey County Board of Commissioners, one man, Bill Goins, Jacob Haywood. Group 545, presented this certificate of recognition as an expression of the board's admiration and appreciation of the attainment of Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America. 21. Bringing honor not only to himself, and his family, the youth, and all citizens of Surrey County. Presented this day of December 2021, Surrey County Board of Commissioners. Marion, Bill Goins, Eddie Harris, Larry Johnson. Congratulations.
Is Chase Harris here, Troop 545, for anybody to represent. I think this is Kyle Mountain Troop, as is Skylar Lawson. I'll read one for both. So to Chase Harris of Troop 545 and Skylar Lawson, Troop 545, down in my neck of the woods. You're hereby presented this certificate of recognition as an expression of the board's admiration and appreciation of your attainment of Eagle Scout rank in Boy Scouts of America. And for bringing honor not only to yourself, your troop, and family, but all citizens of Surrey County. Your awards presented this 6th day of December 2021 by the Surrey County Board of Commissioners. Mark Marion, Chair, Bill Goins, Eddie Harris, Larry Johnson, Van Tucker. Thank you. Is there anybody here that can accept these for those gentlemen? Okay, we'll hang on to them, see if they get them. Chase Harris and Skylar Lawson, Troop 545.
Yeah, we should have done that. No.
This is a certificate of recognition for Ethan Fall. He's also Troop 545 from the county of Surrey. Ethan Fall is hereby presented this certificate of recognition as an expression of the board's admiration or an appreciation of his attainment of Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America in 2020, and for bringing honor not only to himself, his troop, and his family, but to the youth and all citizens of Surrey County. Presented this 6th day of December 2021 by the Surrey County Board of Commissioners, Mark Marion, Bill Goins, Eddie Harris, Larry Johnson, and Van Tucker.
Also from Troop 545 is Joshua Joyce. And Van, am I right? Is which one of the Diamond twins?
Donnie.
Donnie.
Both do.
Both of them do.
And Ronnie.
Both of them's the scoutmasters down there, so maybe possibly they got misinformed or forgot or whatever, but maybe they can come back. Joshua Joyce, Troop 545, is hereby presented this certificate of recognition as an expression of the board's admiration and appreciation of his attainment of Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America in 2020, and for bringing honor not only to himself, his troop, and his family, but to the youth and all citizens of Surrey County. Presented this 6th day of December 2021 by the Surrey County Board of Commissioners, Mark Marion, Bill Goins, Eddie Harris, Larry Johnson, and Van Tucker.
Would y'all like to share what some of the projects were?
Well, Alexander Koppel, his project was at Cedar Ridge Elementary. He there were some raised beds that were kind of dilapidated, so he replaced those. And he also built a small building to put outside and filled it with balls, footballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, all kinds of equipment for the students there. And that was his project.
Garen's in the U.S. Air Force now. He's an airman. He's in New Mexico currently. But his project was, he decided to do a memorial to all the armed forces, and it's at the Low Gap Community Center. And it was done with granite. He surveyed the space and got the granite built and the medallions, and had written on there a real nice piece. And then we lit it up and got new flags for the poles. Then it was dedicated to the Low Gap Community Center. So if you want to go see it, that's where it's at.
Nicholas Bryant is currently a sophomore at UNC Charlotte. That's where he is tonight, studying for exams. For his project, he met with the Reeves Community Center, and he did chalkboards on the walking trail so that others can, because they had so much graffiti that we covered them for a chalkboard so that kids could express themselves with chalk, not permanently. And Sharon Williams was very beneficial in that. They donated a lot of supplies for that.
Thank you. That's good to see some folks stay involved. I'll keep it up.
We're proud of our scouts.
Yes, we are.
If you give me just, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, like we did last time. I am an Eagle Scout, and I'm proud to be an Eagle Scout. And, as I said, I'm not active anymore, but the things I learned in scouting as a young man, and for these guys who are working toward Eagle Scout, stick with it. It will mean something to you one day, and it is a great accomplishment for young men today. I just want to say that.
All right, that's a feel good here. Here we go. All right, now we have our open forum. At this part of the meeting, you'll have 3 minutes. State your name and your phone number, and you can talk about just about anything you want to talk about. So except us. All right. Anyone?
Hello, my name is Walter Harris, 910-620-4390. And I have the pleasure of announcing that I'm running for Surrey County Commissioner. No offense to the commissioners here, but I'm running for Surrey County Commissioner. I was approached, I've been mulling over this with my wife. And of course, this is our decision, as you all know, how much time is involved in this. But I had one of our more vocalized members in our GOP come by at my paint department, and I thought I would just do a soft announcement. So I announced to this gentleman that I was going to be running. Do you mind if I turn this way a little bit? Okay, thanks.
Talk to us.
Talk to you.
Because I can't see you from.
Okay, good. That's fine.
On Zoom.
Okay, good. I'm zooming out here. Good. Anyway, and he told me that no, this is not the right time to run. This is not the right time to run, especially for you. It's not the right time to run. And of course, this is the right time to run. I certainly would have expected that from him, but we thought about it, and I have a good political acumen, but I realize this job is really all about the budget. That's basically what it's about, budgeting and overseeing the county's budget. But I think lately, a lot of citizens are looking to our elected leaders for what's coming at us. And that's what I want to prepare us for. So that's the reason why I've been a Republican, registered Republican since 1971. And I've been a Republican, I've been anything else. So I'm running on the GOP party ticket, and I'm very conservative, very conservative. Exception of these jeans here, I guess. So I just wanted to make my announcement. I filed today, so I'll see everybody on the campaign trail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Lame duck chairman. With the passage,
Name and phone number in case somebody don't know it.
I'm JT Henson, 336-755-2101. Okay. Excuse me. With the passage of the American Rescue Plan and the state budget, both being passed, a lot of dollars is coming to Surrey County, including its schools and municipalities. Therefore, gentlemen, I think it's time for a COLA, not the Coke kind, but a cost of living adjustment. This Board of Commissioners rightfully has taken care of its employees with a higher pay grade, presumably because they've got a satisfactory job performance. Now, if we consider, and you should consider, a COLA for each one of the board members, if you believe you've done a satisfactory job, which I think you have at this point. Now, we tend to do a comparative analysis, and this board gets $8,012 a year in salary, excluding the chairman. That's $2,368 less than Mount Airy Board. Mount Airy has a considerably smaller budget, less responsibilities, but I guess they can afford to pay a little higher salary due to all the funds going their way from the county. I'm not opposed to that. And I certainly approve of what most of the monies have gone to Mount Airy. But let's do something for ourselves. If the board members spend a minimum of 3 hours and 0.208 hours per day, or 92.1 hours per month on county business, you're not even making minimum wage. Now, is that the best we can do? Is that all your time is worth, folks? It's close to being an embarrassment. I would like to see a budget resolution on the next board agenda. Would the voters support it? We have a pretty good audience here tonight. Anybody in the audience opposed to a raise, a modest raise? I didn't hear any negatives. The county can well afford this at this point. And it's not the first time I've contacted y'all about an adjustment. So let's get it done this time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
JT Henson, Mr. Henson.
I've expired.
All right, anyone else?
I'm Kevin Chenault, 336-339-5802. I'm wearing this hat because I know some of you are baseball fans, and maybe pass it around, see if we can re-sign Freddie Freeman. That'd be nice. No, I'm just here to announce an event. As we know, there's 100 counties, and when a potential U.S. senator is coming to Surrey County, I think folks need to know about it. And Ted Budd is running. He's a current congressman, and he's running for Senate. And he's coming to the Dixon Auditorium at Elkin High School Saturday at 1:00 p.m. And sort of billed as an ag meet and greet. He's a farmer and a small businessman. If you know some small businessmen and farmers and can get them there, ask him any question you want. He's more than willing to entertain them. So that's next Saturday, this coming Saturday, December the 11th, 1 to 2 p.m. at Dixon Auditorium, Elkin High School. Ted Budd for U.S. Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chenot.
Well, fellas, Stephen Odom, 336-401-2271. I too come here tonight to announce that I will be running for county commissioner. I'd like to go back to something that Walter said here. It's all about budget. I'd like to thank you fellas, rule with a little compassion. It's not about the dollar, my friend.
Not anymore.
That's why I'm here to run. As most of you know, about as broken as I've ever been. I come to you to let you know I come with compassion for this county because it needs it. I think some of you share that compassion. I do. And I don't think others of you will drive home with a second thought. There are a lot of issues going on in this county that we need to deal with in this county. I can appreciate the issues that are going on in our country. But if you want to make changes in this country, you're going to do it here at this local level. And you're going to hope and pray to God that you can expand it out and that you can reach the people that need to be reached. And changes are coming that need to come. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, Mr. Odom. Anyone else? All right. Now close the open session, open forum. All right, next we have the election of officers. Tonight is my last meeting this year as chairman. I'll now turn it over to Chris Canal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will at this time elect a chairman and vice chairman for 2022 and the remainder of this meeting, of course. We will handle the chairman position first, vice chairman second. If we receive multiple nominations for either position, once all nominations are received, they will be voted on in reverse order. So the last nomination received will be the first nomination voted on. So with that said, at this time, I'll open the floor for nominations for the position of chairman.
I would like to nominate Bill Goins, chairman.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to move that the nominations be closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? At this time, is there a motion for the nomination of Bill Goins as chairman of the Surrey County Board of Commissioners?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Bill Goins. At this time, I will open the floor for the position of vice chairman. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Eddie Harris as vice chairman.
Are there any other nominations?
I move that the nominations be closed.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, is there a motion to nominate Eddie Harris as chairman of the Surrey County Board of Commissioners?
I'll make a motion that we nominate Eddie Harris
Or excuse me, vice chairman.
as the vice chairman of the Surrey County Board of Commissioners.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to say this follows our keeping on this board, this particular board of rotating these positions with the chairman who has not been chairman and with the vice chairman who has been out of the vice chair and the chair seat the longest. I think after having served here about 7 years, I can see where that brings transparency. It brings It brings new sets of eyes to different committees like Property and Finance that is comprised of the chair and the vice chair at least, and or the chair and the vice chair, and sometimes the Finance Committee as well, at least two of those on one of those committees. I think the rotation prohibits the perception and the reality sometimes that two or three people are just running the board and two or three are left in the dark. And I think you get your best ideas forward like that. I think that's wonderful that you gentlemen see it that way, and I commend you for it. And I hope we have another productive year by following those kind of practices. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Eddie Harris.
Thank you.
At this moment, we will take a short recess to reorganize here, and then the new chairman will reconvene the meeting.
Let junk out of the way.
I get to be over here with Abe. Well, pull his darn microphone down. Make sure he talks to him. You do that.
How's Jessica?
Name.
Fine. Did you get all the?
Unloading process, the whole thing.
Did you
And I'm gonna go do it.
get all the trash from 158 Toast Road? That place was it was a disaster.
Okay.
Ready? Y'all ready? Call the meeting back to order. I want to start by, first of all, saying that I appreciate the opportunity to serve as chairman of the Surrey County Board of Commissioners. I'd also like to say thank you to Mark Marion for doing an outstanding job this past year. Been a tough year, and he did a great job as chairman, and we appreciate the job that he did. And I'll give my fellow commissioners the opportunity to say something as well.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to thank Commissioner Goins and Commissioner Marion for their roles in leadership this past year. I think they've done an outstanding job. I know how much time they've committed to it, and I'm glad they were able to commit that much time to the job. I know Commissioner Marion's over here quite a lot, and I want to congratulate them and thank them. They've done an exceptional job, and I look forward to working with them, with Commissioner Goins this year in my role, and I appreciate the confidence the board has expressed in me, and I hope I can warrant your support and satisfaction as we go through the year, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you with humility, and I'll do the very best I can. Thank you.
I too would just echo that quickly. I appreciate your service, Commissioner Marion. Tough job. I think we've all been there and done it, and you've done it well, and we appreciate it. And Commissioner Goins, we appreciate you being at his side, and we're looking forward to you being in the middle here and carrying the gavel. And we will pledge to help you in any way that we can. And this board, it's a tough enough job when it's not functional, and we just certainly don't need it to be dysfunctional. And I think for the most part, we are able to get through our issues, and we will continue to look forward to do that and do the county's business as very best as we can. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And again, look forward to another year of service. Thank you.
All during the year, I thanked Chairman Marion quite a bit. I feel like he served over and beyond his duties. I seem like he was everywhere. Sometimes, when he didn't even have to be, but he was there, especially working with every aspect, every group in Surrey County, and I thank him for that again. And I congratulate Commissioner Goins. I know he will be dedicated to his office of chairman, and look forward to the coming year. And whatever our assignments, boards and committees might be, I'll certainly do my part, and if I need more, I'll try to give that. Congratulations, and thanks to both of you. And by the way, I commend all the commissioners. I've heard a few things about this or that during open forum and such as, but I feel like the five gentlemen serving right now has done their duty and give it justice, in my opinion. So I want to share that too, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve citizens and fellow commissioners. It was a tough year. We had a lot of things going on, but you have your down times, and then you turn around, you get that phone call, somebody thanking you. You don't always make the popular decisions, but sometimes we get it right, and sometimes we get it wrong. But we're gonna keep on plugging and doing what we think's best for Surrey County. And I appreciate you guys up here, and thank you, Commissioner Goins, for your vice chairmanship this year, and the rest of you guys' support. And you'll have my complete support this year. So we're working together to make Surrey County the best we can. Thank you.
Bill Powell, LT Consulting, school construction projects.
First, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here before you. It's an honor, and I appreciate your support over this time. And I'd kind of like to start with a little bigger picture, if you could hit the next slide. And I want to talk about 7 years. In 2014, Surrey County started assessing the needs and exploring funding possibilities for schools. That's huge. And it's really, I've always thought in my career, it takes 5 years to locate, find, and figure out what the right thing to do is. And this fits right on track with this, and the commissioners should be commended along with the citizens in support of this. So we started in 2014 assessing needs. In 2016, prioritizing and finding a way to fund it. 17, early lobs to start the process to figure out engineers. 18, architects on board. 19, bidding Surrey County Schools, Mount Airy HVAC, and we put a hold on the Elkin gym. So there's 5 years. That's to be commended. And then 2, to go through the process. From 19, we completed Mount Airy HVAC, and in 2021, all of the Surrey County school projects were completed by phase over that 2.5 year period. So depending on the phases. The Elkin gym was recently bid. Lobs bonds were passed and construction started in September. So I think it's a true tribute to the citizens of this county for the long dedicated work that the commissioners and the schools and all the citizens in the support of this. With everyone working together, we're going to look here in a minute and we're going to see what's possible. So if we were to start at Surrey County 4 schools, these are the funds. Elkin with recently funded of 11 million, scheduled for fall of 2023. So I dive into Surrey County schools and say, at this point, all students and staff are in the buildings. Punch list is almost complete. The school system architects and contractor, they're going through the process of verification of cost and negotiations to close the project. It's anticipated that the winter is the target for doing that. Project phases were numerous. Sudden pandemic, students, construction schedule, it really became interesting. Students were not in school, plants closed, materials delayed, labor not available, many other situations. And I think over 85% of the construction projects in this country were affected by COVID, materials delays, and supply chain. So all those are overcome before we can stand here at this moment. And the students and the staff that have been enduring of these things over the past pandemic. Most important piece here at the end, the project will complete within the funding and within the allocations. So I want to hit a couple of topics. Now this, I'm going to divide the funding into 2 things, and I got a quick summary, but one is the construction. So within the construction, there was a contingency for what ifs. And those what ifs encountered are, we started 1,017,017, and the expenses to date have been committed. 85% of that 1,017,017 is committed. So it's not quite all committed, but we're still in closeout. They're still negotiating. The contractor wants things, the school system wants some money back, they're still negotiating. So in the process of that, it's broken into the 4 categories. Unforeseen conditions, meaning nobody knew about them. They're in the dirt, they're behind the walls, they're exposed when something is opened. Deferred maintenance, replacing roofs, soffits, doors, hardware, pipe repairs. Now those funds, it's very important that saves the taxpayers and the schools later from coming back. Safety and security. I don't think any of us can complain about safety and security with enclosures, doors, storefronts, and so forth. And the last section of other, which is code requirements, substitute products, omissions, shortages, finishes, and so forth. Now I broke that down in a simple little chart right here, and it says over 54% was in deferred maintenance. So instead of coming back at a future point and asking for roofs, a good chunk of that is in some added roofs that were put in the project that many of you had heard about early on. in the thing. So roofs were put in. We've got soffits. We've got some electrical, some mechanical that we didn't know, but all that hits in deferred maintenance. But 54% to deferred. Unforeseen, about a fourth of it. Safety and security, another fourth. So that's how the funds have been spent. We have all the detail, you know, if you want all of those, we can give that to you, every dollar and where it went. The next item, this is the owner project budget, and many of you heard that as soft cost. So in the soft cost, we had 2.3 million, and that includes design. Well, before I go there, that's 80% of that has been committed. So in there is design and engineering, demolition and removal of hazardous materials, USTs, asbestos abatement and demolition. Then we get soil test, inspect and survey, very necessary. This includes a special inspections team, which was hired to look at all the structural elements to verify that the building will hold up. It meets plans and specs, reinforcing, concrete, soils, what it'll hold up. That's what's in the soil category. The mobiles and miscellaneous other, a lot of that is moving around because in the multiple phases, and Surrey County Schools did an excellent job in this process. It was originally planned for a pod to go in. That's about that's an expense. That could be $300,000 to $400,000. And that was avoided by pulling in a few trailers and changing a little bit of the phasing schedule. So I commend Surrey County Schools for doing that. It has allowed some of these funds to be available for other things. And as we look at the next slide, you'll see in there the design and engineering is again more than half of the process. So that's not just architectural design, but that's structure and civil, some water, several things. And then we look at the demo. The abatement is 25 or 26%. Then we have soils at 16 and mobiles and miscellaneous other at 6%. So those are pretty solid in there, pretty typical. And by the way, this is a very economical as far as across the state way to spend the soft cost. This is not huge in that section. So now I'm going to run through pretty quick, most of the commissioners, but it's time to start and reflect where we were and where we've come to. So in this, overall additions, a few pictures, each section, I'll give demo, classroom, gyms, ADA, corridor safety, kitchen, dining, secure front vestibules, and exterior and sites. So we're gonna move along there. So in the demolition, this is really quite the, this tells you the level of the demolition. You can see the toilets, everything's gone, but the structure, the windows, everything's gone, but the outside wall, there's a new window. In the classrooms, also, everything's gone. The wind blows through. Then we move in the upper left is the way the classrooms were. They had piping, they had old windows. In the bottom, the extent of the work in the classroom, and on the right, a finished classroom. Next, we did gyms at each school. So on the upper left is the old gym, and you can see windows that have been patched and band-aided, and you've got floors that have been there for years. One of the schools, Franklin, has the complete gym floor removed. So again, the level, and on the right, this is the gym when you get finished. Beautiful space. The next are Tallet Renovations. So on the left, you know, this is one of those colors that we all knew from the 50s. You know, we've got the avocado and we got the harvest gold, and you know, we got all these colors, but we started with the green and the level of the demo, tear everything out, put in new piping. The piping under the floor was rotten and expired. And we end up on the right with a finished ADA compliant and much safer restroom. Then we're going to hit the corridors. So on the left is one of the dimmer. In the corridors, you can see piping, wires. They're crossing the classrooms. It's just not quite as bright and clean as you would think that you'd want for the students of the county. In the middle is the new corridor. So there were several corridors added that connected buildings to make them secure buildings. This happens to be the one at Dobson in the center where you can see it came from scratch. And on the right is that same corridor. And if you stood at the Dobson Elementary Gym and looked up toward the front building, there's a ramp to get you to the classroom on the left. There's a ramp further up on the right to get you to the cafeteria. It takes you all the way to the front door, all inside the building. This is huge. Kitchen additions and renovations. So in that process, you can see on the left, let's go back to the kitchen second. On the left is you see ductwork exposed, conduit wiring, lights. That's not the best condition and all the new codes and requirements. They should be cleaned up and fixed. You see staff and serving lines kind of stuff, half in the kitchen and half in the dining room. On the right shows the new serving lines, and behind that wall is a whole brand new kitchen. So that's huge. That really helps the staff be efficient and to present a better product and present to the students a wonderful meal twice a day. Next. Cafeteria started on the upper left. Again, you can see the level of the demolition in the cafeteria, and on the right, one of the finished dinings. And then we talked about safe vestibules. So the one on the left, if you came in the door on the left, that's the front door, you come to they have to buzz you in. So they stop you out there, recognize you, verify that you have a purpose. Then they let you in the office where you sign in, identify yourself on the computer there. Then as you move to the right, you will be screened, and then you go into the school building on the door on the right. The second picture on the right is a different way to accomplish it with a desk, but has the same purpose. So all the schools now have secure front vestibules. Then I wanted to take just a second and let's talk about the big picture at Dobson. The left-hand arts building was there. That building was demolished. It was cleared out. On the right, you see the spot where the building used to be, and that's where the two-story will go. So you see the two-story sitting in that hole in the ground, and it now ties in and completes the campus with a complete internal campus. So you can see where you started and where you ended. Let's go to Franklin. So on Franklin, this happens to be the 1952 building in the rear, and it was not accessible. You see the windows, the window shaker in between them. And all of that was cleaned out and removed. And the right-hand side is the entry with accessible paths, cleaned up, brand new windows in there. You can see those behind the canopy. Tremendous. Let's go next. And then we're going to go to the front. Now, the right-hand building had minimal work, but that is the secure front entry. As you follow the canopy to the left, the whole building on the left is the 1950 building that was gutted and taken out. I think many of you had the tour. That is one of the reasons this building was selected. It was gutted, the wind blows through. Sure is a different building, but the whole left-hand side and a new reoriented pickup drop-off. All that asphalt's not new, but that is coated, but it is a new pickup drop-off safer. Next. So we're going to go to Mountain Park. And we had a field in between the existing office and the gym. And that field on the right picture says it was graded and placed footings in. And then the next picture. And so that creates on the right-hand side is that new classroom building at Mountain Park on that open field. The building on the left is the new media center, which replaced the wooden structure 1945 building. So those are huge improvements, and it's a new pickup drop off for the students, much safer, covered canopy. Huge improvement. Let's go to the next. And now we'll move to Elkin. So a lot of people, this was a tough project. It took us a little while to get it right. And before we get going, we want to thank Van Hoy. This was a CM at risk. This is a classic place where that they can save tons of money with a CM at risk. If you have a clean building in the field and you're going to go out and you're going to bid it and you can put it in, you got some money there. In this one, where it was originally anticipated and we went through and where it ended up is $2 million less. And that was accomplished from ideas of the contractor for easier constructability. And they moved the building up the hill, eliminating the caissons and deep foundations. So that is how CM at risk comes into play. Many people are pro for it, many people against it. But if you look, May 25th, GMP awarded 11,038,000, the budget 11.3 million. Lobs bonds from the county of 11 million, and Elkin School has found monies, and they are supporting at this point 319,000 with the grant and local funds. But the project is still needs some funds, and they are currently looking for ways to find those funds. So we hope maybe through some of the contingencies, but we're looking to ways to find the balance of those items that were deferred that many of you are aware of. So that's a huge tribute to Elkin City Schools for looking for money. This is a tough project. So I'm going to hit you with a few words here. I'm going to go quick. There's a gym addition at the top level, middle and high, 4 locker rooms in the middle, all ADA Title IX. Lower level, high school, at the high school competition gym level. No work in the high school gym. It does have ADA public restrooms and concessions for all the support of all athletics in the building on that level. Second elevator then takes you on down to the existing locker room and weight room, which at this point are not included in the project, those renovations. And the third elevator is up in the high school to provide ADA and access between the high school building and all this new work. So let's take a look at that picture next and see where that takes us. So you see there where the gym, you can see the new one is pushed up the hill closer to the middle on the left. The existing is on the right. And then as you look at the picture on the lower left, that is the 4 lockers, and then the level down is public restrooms. So let's go. You know, sometimes you just got to take the trees off to see what really is on there underneath those tree cover. And it really makes you appreciate how much effort it takes to get from the bottom right down there where that truck sits up to the high school on the upper left. So we're going to look at that in the next slide. 3 elevators. So on the upper right, you start at the high school cafeteria, move to the auditorium level on a stop, go to the existing high school music level, approximately the level of the lower level of the middle school. Then you go out, you cross the road, and you can go into the new gym. You grab the elevator in the purple, you ride the elevator down to the new locker levels, go down another floor, and you got the concessions and the competition gym on that level. Then if you move to the right, which is toward the rear of the campus, you go into a third elevator, and you grab that elevator and you go down to the existing locker level. And then you take it further down to the weight room and the fields. That's a lot of work. 7 levels, 72 feet, ADA access. That was not easy to come up with. It's a tribute to the architect and the contractors and the ideas that made this happen. So let's look at a couple more. This says the same thing with the picture with a few red lines crossing. Up there, the cafeteria, and the bottom right is the existing weight room. So that's the extent of the project. What's next? So if we looked on the right-hand side, looking down the hill, that was the steps. We had to put in new steps on the other side of the building in order to get the students during construction from the high school down to the fields. There's no other way to take it down there but this way or drive around the street to get there. So that's what this accomplishes. Once this is done, we can start construction. So on the left, you see the trees before they're cleared. On the right, you begin to get a little more image of what's really before us. And it's cleared, and now you're looking up what's hidden behind the trees. Next. And this is standing at the top of the hill, looking down. On the left is the gym. On the right is the middle and the trees. And then when you strip the trees away, this is what you see. Significant. Quite an impressive project here. Let's go to the next. So we took out the access to the gym, that asphalt road that went down. So this is replacing, and this is purely for maintenance. Think if you had to replace the bleachers or have to replace air handlers, or you got to do gyms, or you got to get anything in that building. And you see that dozer there tucked on the side and the level and extent of the magnitude of what we're getting at. But that is the right-hand side of the gym looking up at the high school. Let's go next. And as we get to that point, what I wanted to say at this point is this is a point where the citizens and the commissioners and everyone involved and the dedication and effort over 5 to 7 years to make improvements for the Surrey County students and citizens. This is huge. This is how you help invest in your future in Surrey County. And with that, I think I'm done. Open for questions.
Chairman, I'd like to say that I attended all the ribbon cuttings for all these. Was a groundbreaking for Elkin, but the ribbon cuttings and from where you started to where they ended up is a wonderful improvement. The gyms, the cafeterias, and I know you wasn't there, but granddaughter goes to Dobson and she made a statement. She didn't like all that brightness to begin with, but it's grown on her, and but all the projects went good, except I never think that two-story building was gonna ever get done. But it was good. It's beautiful. So kids got a good place to go now. Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you, Bill. Very, very good presentation. I'd like to ask you on the 3 projects at Dobson, Franklin, and Mountain Park, just a wild guess on your part, if we had to do those now, what would be the increases that you could imagine?
Cost of increase from 25 to 41%, depending on what you're doing. So that's heavy math when you think 25 million investment on those 3 schools.
So it could have been 10 million easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a heavy investment. Good thing we did it when we did it.
Came out.
We're going to be on target. We should have some funds, that's yet to sort out, and school system will probably come back and talk about that.
We were aware of the project at Elkin, it's very complicated and been ongoing a long time. And of course, we postponed it a couple of years due to the COVID crisis. And we were trying to get some money from the legislature this year, $4 million. It's just kind of a padding for that project down there at Elkin. And we did okay, I think, in some respects in what we got from the legislature, but we didn't get that pot of money. And so I hope this board can go back next year to our legislators. And we tried to explain to them that it was an extremely complicated project. And yes, we had funded it, but there's all sorts of unknowns still yet in that project. And it's just getting started. And so we felt like we needed a safety net. And I hope this board can go back to the legislature next year in the short session with that as one of our priorities, because I think, there's a lot of challenges still to go there. But thank you for a very, very good job. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I'd just like to thank you, Bill, personally. You've been a very good advocate for us, and I think you've earned your keep, as the old-fashioned saying is. The figures that you give on the contingency and also on the soft cost, about 80% or so of it's been used or whatever. My quick math shows there's about 600,000 left in there altogether. And so you feel like we'll come out even?
Well, there's about 450 in one. I don't think there's that much to make the difference in the other one, but there is going to be some funds, and I'm hopeful it's gonna come out well. I know that Surrey County Schools is evaluating. We still got to pull the cost together. They'll have to pull their cost together. But your math is correct. That's what it is.
Well, I'm just saying, that they use the contingency for some roofs and other things,
Mhm.
we'll shout hallelujah too, but, and that's great. I'm just hoping that, we'll break even. That's my,
Well, until I'm gonna say 6 months ago, that was as close as we could get within comfort without knowing the end. We got to know the end, which is what you said, Mr. Harris, at Elkin. We hope there's no hidden snakes.
Still a ways to go. Yeah.
That was a great presentation, but for public perception and a refresher to this board, we here all are keenly aware of our next real pressing need in the school budgets as far as capital expense. And we know we've got 3 high schools: East Surrey High School, Surrey Central High School, North Surrey High School. And we've got modern day registration and enrollment, and we've got 1960s era building. Would you address that briefly as to how much longer we can wait, how much time we have, what advancements we're making, and looking toward being able to put enough Band-Aids on them to keep them going?
Those buildings are old, and back in 14, we talked about 20 million, then we went to 25 million per school. And now we've had this tremendous jump. So we're talking 40 and above million each. And that's a huge thing coming down the chute. It's gonna be a huge hurdle. It's gonna have to take time, knowing how Surrey County's funds are limited, and choose the priorities, but that's some huge hurdles. And at 60 now, those buildings are 60 years old. That's about the life expectancy of those interiors of those buildings. Some of the structures are still good, but you still got all the interiors with original floors, original ceilings, many original lights. It's tremendous, the need coming down the chute. And I can't say anything other than you made a comment about what cost has gone up in 5 years. Think about 5 years from now, that 40 million is going to be 50 to 60, without a doubt.
So if you were just right off the top of your head, given within a tremendous gap of latitude, a figure for 3 high schools, you would say what to that question?
In what year?
If we started a 5-year plan.
You're going to be approaching 50 to 60 each to do those. So depending on enrollments and your county's growth or not, maybe they get scaled back with less work, but it's still a significant need. I don't think there'll be 40% more students, so I'm not sure the less students will cover the increase in the dollars. So it's a huge task coming down
Huge
your
task.
way.
And that's why I wanted you to address it tonight for this board again, as well as public consumption, and all the more reason why we need to be very cautious on this board and prudent in how we do spend the monies that we have available at this point. We have future needs upon us.
But as I said in the first timeline, those are real dates of what it took to get there, and those are very typical in a political body's time to get there. Much faster than that is really not, I'm gonna say it's seldom done faster than that. Seldom in my experiences. But quite a thing, but I do appreciate it. And behind whatever I've done, you got architects, contractors, schools, and students that endured this construction process. So they're all commended in this process also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Surrey, Director of Libraries, Northwest Regional Library update.
We are just here to thank you all for your support, continued support. We certainly, it's fascinating to see about the schools. We all know how important they are, and we feel very much that libraries are an arm of education for all ages and certainly for our students too. So thank you for your support. You all know some of the staff here from Surrey County, and also Jonathan Bledsoe is here, and he is, you're my bosses and he's my boss too. So he's the chair of the Regional Library Board, and we're really glad that he's here. So,
Introduce your folks, if you will.
oh, sure. This is Martha Smith from Elkin, and Renee Southern from Mount Airy, and Anna Nichols from Pilot Mountain, and Cindy Brannock from Dobson, and Rhonda Gallion from Low Gap. And she knows exactly where that monument is that they were talking about. She said it's beautiful. So we're so glad that they could, and we don't want to take up a lot of your time, but we really do want to thank you. The libraries are doing well, staying busy. We certainly appreciate your support, certainly over the last year too. We know it was a tough year for everybody and money is always a concern, but we try to stretch those dollars every way we can and squeeze them too. Thank you again. We all know that libraries are anchors of their communities. We really appreciate you all coming to some of the board meetings and to see some of the other board members and hear more about what's going on. Libraries are often taken for granted, but there are many, many things that go on there. It's more, it's certainly books, but it's also much more. And I know Mr. Marion came to the Dobson board meeting last year, and we did have a good time. So we hope you all will come back. It's really an honor. We did compile the state report this past year. Again, we turn that into the state library every year. And we just did see some areas of growth. And I believe I sent something to Mr. Knopf with some figures. I hope you have that. We were really glad to see some areas of growth. The libraries continue to be busy, even if there wasn't maybe as much foot traffic. The materials were used a lot, and the staff did a tremendous job in pivoting to provide services in a different way, just like everybody else did with curbside service and going online. And a lot of those services will certainly continue to do because they're very popular and they work well. I did want to mention, though, we were so glad to see that overall throughout our regional system, Surrey, Allegheny, Stokes, and Yadkin, book circulation went up 10%, which is great. It's always nice to see that. People say, are people still reading? And I think the answer is yes. So we're really glad. Our e-resources, which are online, went up 9%. And the total circulation, which is the e-resources and the books and any of the AV materials, went up 7%. So that was good to see during a year that was quite challenging. I just wanted to update you all too that we did, the library system did receive an ECF grant, Emergency Connectivity Fund grant, to purchase some Chromebooks and some hotspots for all the libraries to check out to help a little bit with the digital divide. We all know there are people who do not have the same connectivity as other people too. So it's a small gesture in the whole scheme of things. We had a pilot program over the summer and it seemed to work really well. And there's some wonderful stories about how it did help people. As you know, the Surrey County 5 libraries are part of the Northwestern Regional Library. That Allegheny, Surrey, Stokes, and Yadkin, 13 libraries altogether. And I just wanted to mention to you too, there are 12 regional libraries in the state. And again, they were established many years ago to try to equalize library services across the state, and we still find that vital. It not only saves money, it shares resources. So again, we do receive state aid, and I think there's a graph in your packet there that the regional library gets funding from the General Assembly, and we were all very excited that the budget passed, right? And then it trickles down to the state library, and then the state library distributes it to libraries throughout the state. And then it goes to the regional office where all of it is tracked to the penny. And then those funds, the state funds, are mainly used to fund the regional headquarters. And of course, you all fund the Surrey County libraries along with the municipalities. But what translates from the money coming from the state are services and support. And I think that we are just really happy to be able to serve all the libraries, and it does save money and funds in many different ways. So that's kind of the model. And we are very glad to hear that the state, the General Assembly did approve an increase for state funding this year. And we don't know what our portion is. It's non-recurring. But again, we really want to make sure all those funds translate into services for each library in any way they can. We look forward to seeing you at the libraries. Please let us know if there's anything we can do. We feel that the libraries are as vital as ever. We continue to look for challenges and ways to change and grow and meet the needs of people, whether it is a paper book that a lot of people still read or whether it's electronic things, robotics, virtual reality, it's wide open. And we continue to look for funding for some of these projects to introduce them into the communities too. So thank you all so much for your support. I think maybe Anna from Pilot Mountain has a few words, if that's okay, if there's time.
Fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you again for having us. It's always a pleasure to be here, of course. We can sing about the library all the time because it's a passion for all of us, and we're grateful for the opportunity to serve this community. Surrey County is a lovely, wonderful place to live, in great part because of the individuals who care so deeply about the quality of life for all of us. And we know that each of you have that concern at heart. Many wonderful things are happening at the libraries. We can give you facts and figures all the time, but the fun things are that LoGap has increased their hours and they're serving their community on Saturdays now when they didn't have those hours this past year. So thank you, Rhonda. Elkin has marvelous programs that are vital and well attended and just such a great resource that people are looking for all the time. Mount Airy always has many, many things that are happening there too. Goodness, in Pilot, I spoke with you I think it was in the spring when I was telling you about the maker space that we had available. We're very proud to say that we just recently had a workshop with our local businesses in Pilot Mountain. We're partnering with them. And we've had reports from that maker space and a workshop that was just recent with great attendance. Several of the businesses have come back to us and said, oh goodness, you wouldn't believe what we have done now with our Canva information. We've made business cards and flyers and we're marketing in this way and that way. So libraries try to find those little niches that help in small ways, but they become big things. So that's our mission, our goal so often. And we know that you support that and we thank you for it. Recently in Pilot Mountain, of course, so many of us, I know all of you were concerned about the fire on the mountain. And again, the beauty and the elegance of living in such a wonderful place is that community from all around the county and from all around the state came to our aid. We came to one another's aid and supported and cared for and took care of business there. So thankfully it's out and we'll recover as always. And thank you for your support of that issue as well. I would be remiss in not saying something about it. But again, I wanted to say thank you very much. Ask us anytime, please visit. It's so nice to see you. It's always a surprise when you walk in the door, but it's, oh gosh, there's Eddie, there's Van. It's really nice to see you when you come in and visit with us and see what's happening. So please do. And we bring you greetings also from all corners of the county. We see your constituents every day. So they say hi, they say happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And we wish you all well. So thank you.
I think I want to say this, I appreciate all that y'all do that people don't see, from helping people do their taxes to filling out job applications, resumes, working with young people that people don't see. We appreciate what you do each and every day and want you to know that. Thank you. All right, last thing on the agenda is County Commissioners' General County Business. Mr. Murray?
I'd be remiss without saying, I thanked all you gentlemen this past year. Without our go-to people in the county, we've got, probably the greatest county manager anybody's ever got, that ever has. So thank you, Chris Canal, for everything you've done. Sandy, the go-to gal. Thank you for always being there and helping. And thank you for what y'all do. And Nathan and Ed, and call Ed, want to know something legal or not. He's always there to help out. We're a team, and it was great for the support. And I just want to thank y'all for that.
We're going in order here. I'll just take this opportunity to say I have followed up once again with the folks in the Westfield community concerning the disposal or the new home for an old World War II memorial, which is on the school properties. If anyone in the audience is not aware, this board has decided to surplus that property along with some other remnants of some school properties in Surrey County. We decided we got enough problems and enough high schools to build without being in the real estate business. But on those grounds, we have a World War II memorial. It's near and dear to a lot of folks' heart over there, as it is all of us and all the veterans and all the people in Surrey County. We have an old, I don't know, probably 75-year-old school bell that's mounted in a little tower there that's near and dear to the community. We have some memorabilia from sports cases and trophies and things that are still there in the old cafeteria. And I told the board I'd report back. So what we have done, I have reached out to 3 or 4 different individuals that I happen to know and asked for some referrals from those individuals. And we've got 2 or 3 of the local churches involved in a liaison committee, as well as some folks in the fire department. And they are working on this. In fact, it went before the Board of Deacons at one of the churches yesterday as far as who wants what or who will be the new home for which one of those items. And I just wanted to report that we are in the process of letting them kind of figure that out, and they're going to report back here. And when they do, we'll report to this board. And of course, they want to know if we can help them in those projects. And I've told them we need to see what they want exactly and where they want those projects to go. And we would take that up an issue at a time. The other thing I want to say is I want to follow up on the request down in my district from Mrs. Mary Brewster about the closure on the road. Is that process continued? Have we done everything we can as a board? Is it now in the hands of the DOT on the Roby Fork Road being decided to be abandoned? DOT, I'm sorry. Yeah.
We confirmed last week that DOT is working on that with the landowners.
Yeah. And one thing she asked me to say tonight here was, and I'll just take this opportunity to say this to fellow board members, she was a little nervous in her presentation. She said to relay to you folks, but one of the reasons that got those folks so interested in this, they actually had an arsonist to drive down to the end of that road and actually burned a couple of their buildings with some tractors and tools inside. And she wanted to make sure that I told you guys about that. And that's one of the main premises on which she wants this road closed. So I'm done, just reporting back from 2 issues last week. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Commissioner Tucker a question or follow up? That memorial and flagpole and such as that on the property, isn't that close to a line, a boundary line? Possibly?
I'm not aware of that. All I'm aware of, Chris can help me there. We have just recently surveyed off the recycling part of what was on the main footprint of the school. Separately, Jessica will know that. Where that line is between those 2 properties, I really don't know. Do you know, Jessica, where it is in proximity to that memorial? Yeah,
That's what I mean. Well, the memorial's right there at the Vale. Yeah, there's a monument that, well, Commissioner Tucker, my question would be, there's a good possibility that the new owner might allow it to stay, possibly.
possibly.
Okay. I just saying that's a.
Certainly, we're open to that. We want to hear what their suggestions are. They have some keen interest in moving them.
Well, they certainly want it to stay in the community for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one comment. Commissioner Tucker, you mentioned some trophies. Is that what you mentioned?
There are some trophy cases as well as some actual trophies from way back in the day, maybe 50s, 60s, 70s.
Okay, I would probably consult with the Surrey County School System. I don't know if the proper repository for those would be at the Westfield School over there, the new Westfield School, because we're all aware of the trophy situation with Surrey County schools here, that a significant number of trophies, state records and things in the hands of a private individual that somehow got out of the hands of the county school system. And it's been a point of contention for years with some citizens. So I'd be really careful what happens to those trophies.
Absolutely agree, and we've discussed that point. Mainly, we're looking for homes for the bell tower, the old World War II memorial, and the appropriate place for the trophies, as we are absolutely not in one bit interested in giving them to an individual. So if someone here can help me coordinate that with the Surrey County School Systems, or I'll be happy to. If you'd like, I'll call the superintendent and we will have him to get involved in this. We'll see if they can have a home for them, and I'll make that a suggestion to the liaison committee.
Your district.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to share a couple of things with you and a few questions. In the past, I really enjoyed looking at our state sales tax revenue. I haven't seen that in several months. Is that an oversight, or we just haven't got the report from the state yet, or?
I will check around in the morning, see where that stands.
I enjoy looking at our revenue and see how it's looking, and haven't seen that since our new budget year, I think. I might be wrong in that. It's been a while, but I enjoy looking at our property tax revenue and see how we're looking, and also the sales tax, how it's how amazing it's been the last little bit. Questions, Mr. Chairman. In the past meetings, we have discussed a few items that my question will be, hoping, and maybe our county staff or our lawyer can help when we'll be able to discuss these matters again. Because we just discussed them with no action, and it might be a while, but I just want to ask those questions. I assume, or the question is, on the monies that are coming from the federal government for this COVID, the millions that we're getting, are we going to be having another, we're still waiting on how we can spend it and how we can't spend it? Would that be a correct statement, or are we getting close? Can we have another work session soon, or?
I don't know if you'll need another work session, but we'll build it into one of the meetings in January.
And we can take care of it in January?
Bring it back up. I think we'll feel more comfortable.
Okay, well, you don't have more, okay. All right. The other is that we have discussed the part issue. Us, the county, Surrey County still, we're involved with the transportation, the regional thing, and I was wanting to know, and we might be able to bring that back up to the table again.
Ed update.
Part.
Get up. I need some guidance from the board. I've looked at minutes from the county level. I've looked at minutes from part. I've looked at the general statutes, looked at resolutions passed by this board and by the part board, and there's no path indicated on how to disintegrate Surrey County from participation. So my gut is that you follow the same path that you took to get where you are. In other words, it will require a resolution at the county level, probably part. But what I would like to do is talk to Tom Terrell. He is the attorney for part. I have a long-standing relationship with him, but I didn't want to start down that path without the consent of the board. But I know that Tom will have probably the best feel for how to navigate this, and I'm sure he will be willing to do so, even though it may not be highly desirable from parts position.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like for us to continue to pursue, and I would like make a motion if necessary for our attorney to consult with Park's attorney. And I would love for, part of my motion to schedule as quickly as we can to bring that back to the floor.
Made a motion, but I think consensus is okay if he wants to consider that.
I would think consensus would be suitable also.
Good.
Sounds like we're good.
I'll take care of it.
Okay. Also, one last item, we've discussed and we haven't got into real detail. We've been supplied with some information and different avenues. When would it be, when do you think a good time frame would be? No rush, but I just sort of like to ponder on some things, or maybe in taking some of the actions that I might be with, and that's the property of Old Jones School. When do you think we might discuss that some more?
Well, that's up to the board when they want to schedule more discussion. The presentation, the last meeting, as far as the options, I think those are fairly well laid out. I don't know if those are going to change much, if at all. I know former chairman had some follow-up emails from some of the alumni and members of the community who might have an interest in taking ownership. But as far as what the board wants to do, I think that's sort of in your hands. I will say that last week, if you were to choose the route of the tax credit project partnership with, I guess, the P3 tax credit partnership, the Surrey County Housing Consortium Board agreed to commit $1 million towards that project should the board decide to go that route. So that money is there if you choose to go that route.
Well, Mr. Chairman, as far as Commissioner Johnson's concerned, I'd like for us to do it in the pretty near future, bring it back to the floor for discussion.
Something we could do at retreat.
I think this is a topic quite complicated and so broad that I think it would almost be a retreat item, really, if the board would be agreeable. Yeah.
Good. I think it deserves that public discussion.
I mean, we need to give it a fair shake, give it, yeah.
And that's in February, is that correct? And I would,
February. Part of February.
Be fourth Friday.
And before I close, I'd also like to thank the county staff, all of them, for a job well done. It's been a good year, and this county has taken, one way or another, we've taken on a lot of things this year. Some have been accomplished, some have just started. And as I ride around the county, I feel I'm blessed to live in Surrey County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Did you say that retreat was the fourth Friday? Is that what you said?
25th.
I think so, yeah.
It's 25th.
25th.
This has been scheduled in place.
When you adopt the budget calendar, it's on the budget calendar.
I mean, has the place been selected?
The new chairman, we always wait for the
Yeah,
new chairman. for
you
this.
select the place, Mr.
They
Chairman.
will select the location.
Backyard.
Make sure you mow your yard before you vote.
We have two things.
Is that okay? I just want to point out, there's some information at each of your seats when you arrive this evening regarding a letter from the Surrey Rural Health Center. This is a project you all partnered with Dr. Minton on and the Department of Commerce for a grant when he originally redeveloped that site and opened that office. He is in need of expansion. He desires to apply again. The deadline will be January the 6th. So at the January 3rd meeting, the board will need to make a decision on whether or not they to give their support to him applying and potentially committing the 5% match. The only thing we don't have at this time, we're not quite sure, talking to Todd Tucker, what the amount they will seek will be. You know from City of Mount Airy that there's a grant application for the same program for Northern Hospital. And I also understand that Hugh Chatham is going to be submitting a grant. Whether it'll be in this cycle or another one, I don't know. But I've given you this information so you can kind of prepare for it. And as we get more information, I'll push it out to you before the next meeting, include all of it in your packet. And of course, with the holiday season, as is every year, our cutoff for the meeting, the first meeting in January will be December 21st. So we'll get your packets to you before Christmas.
Can I ask one question? To refresh our memory, we've had some history with those grants, but was that just a in-kind match back for the same amount of property? What was the type was that one on? What type, how was it structured?
5% local match, 5% cash. So if the grant is $100,000, the match is $5,000. The board can choose to pay that themselves from general fund, or there have been occasions where the board has asked the developer to pay that local match. So the developer would pay the county would then pay state.
Okay.
You'll need to think about how you would want to approach this project. And like I said, we don't have an amount at this time. The last one was $100,000.
Mr. Chairman, can I address what he's talking a little bit about this? Commissioner Harris and myself and Commissioner and Chairman Marion, we went to a ribbon cutting for Hugh Chatham up there. And Commissioner Harris represented the county in voice, done a great job. And my first question was about Hugh Chatham has their urgent care and other things right there in the same complex as Dr. Minton. And my question was, I think Commissioner Marion told me, I said, what does Dr. Minton think about this? And they said, well, he's the landowner. He's the landlord. So I thought that was pretty unique that they have, but this is a great thing for Surrey County for what's going on in that area. And that's close to, I don't know, that's close to I-77, 89 intersection. I'm hoping that we can respond to the affirmative on that when it comes to us.
Yeah, they're busting at the seams now. They're growing so fast that they want to build another 3,200 square foot facility.
Last item I have is, well, I'm going to make you aware of there is a home in the Toast community that was a rental property owned by an elderly woman. The last tenants she had in the home were ended up squatting for a long period of time, and number of issues, not very good tenants, I guess you could say. I know the sheriff's office was involved. They were evicted twice, I believe, by the court system. This last time they seemed to have stayed away. They left in their wake 22.4 tons of debris and trash. And in the Toast community, this is a very dense area. It's not 10-acre tracts with farmhouses. It's a very dense community. Most lots in that community are less than a quarter acre in size. Members of the community at their expense with heavy equipment removed all of this debris and deposited it in the landfill. And I'm bringing it to you this evening to see if the county would be willing in this particular situation to pay the tipping fees in lieu of the community that made an effort at their expense to remove 22.4 tons of trash.
What, do you have an estimated cost of what that tipping fee would have been?
It's $1,007.55.
Is that the one on Toast Road?
Yes,
I think I've got a call.
158.
I think I got a call. Okay. I'll make a motion that we pay the citizens tipping fee for cleaning that property up.
I'll second that motion. I think if we can get out of that mess for $1,000, we'll be happy to do it.
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say, yeah, these community servants are to be commended. They used their own heavy equipment dump truck. It was a pretty messy situation. The Surrey County Sheriff's Department was there. Doug Hall was notified. He said this was one of his problem properties, of which we have many, as you all well know, but he said this was one of the worst ones. And it's right there, a couple of houses below the old Franklin Fire Department. And it worked out really, really good. Yeah.
Anybody?
Appreciation to the community efforts.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right.
We have a request for closed session for legal. That's all I
All
have.
right. I just have a few remarks, and I'll start with Pilot Mountain and just say I'd like to appreciate all our volunteer firemen, our EMS, emergency management, and then the North Carolina Forest Service, all the folks that were involved in fighting or really controlling that fire. Commissioner Tucker is closer than any of us to that mountain. But what a beautiful resource that we have in Pilot Mountain State Park. And, that's really come to light, over the past 8 months. We talked about the bean shoals and the Yakin Island Park. And so some improvements coming there soon to that area.
Actually, we got $4 million coming there.
And so how proud we are of that state park and all the resources in Surrey County. And I don't think that our citizens, we take it for granted sometimes. We really take what we have for granted in this county. You think about Raven Knob, you think about Cumberland Knob touches Surrey County, the Yakin River, the Fisher River, all the things that we do to try to get people to use the natural resources. We don't do that enough. And so I think, for us, it's incumbent on us to preserve for future generations, things like Pilot Mountain. What a jewel to this county. And so thankful for all those people who helped in that fire. Even though I think come springtime, as Commissioner Tucker and I have talked about, that mountain will be more beautiful than it's ever been.
It'll rejuvenate. It will rejuvenate.
It will rejuvenate. And so we just encourage our citizens to use that. Again, I'm honored to serve as chairman, and I appreciate and enjoy serving with these 4 gentlemen. I appreciate their leadership. I've learned a lot from them. Even we have differences of opinion. We work to find common ground. And I know some things that we've disagreed on, and I've said this to Commissioner Harris. He said, at the end of the day, we're trying to do what's best for Surrey County and the people in Surrey County. And I really believe that of all the members of this board, that we're working toward trying to do what's best for the people of Surrey County. Whether we agree all the time, well, we don't, but we really do work hard for the citizens of the county. And I want to say that we want what's best for our citizens. I'm proud of what we've done over the past 3 years. We've got one more year. I've got one more year in my term. And I'm going to go ahead and announce I will be seeking a second term on the board. So I will file probably within the next week for a second term. So I appreciate anyone's support and look forward to serving the citizens in the coming year. Thank you all for being here. And do you have a motion?
Motion to close.
Second. I have a motion, second from Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Back on.
Don't have any other, right? For motion. Motion by Commissioner Marion, second by Commissioner Tucker. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.